everyone. My name is Creea Shannon, and today I have a special guest. I would like you guys to meet Morghan Hyatt. Hi, Morghan.
Hi,
How
everyone.
how are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How have you been handling everything with COVID? Are you working from home or are you going in?
So I am working remotely. I haven't been into the office since I started my job. So it's been different, kind of adjusting to the pandemic now that it's been over a year. But I'm doing well.
Okay, that is wonderful to hear. Now, tell me about yourself.
Okay, well, I am a recent graduate from Duquesne University. I graduated in December of 2020, and I received my Bachelor of Arts in Biochemistry with a double minor in Public Health and Mathematics. Currently, I am a Data Policy Associate for the Children's Defense Fund Ohio, which is a nonprofit.
Well, first of all, that's wonderful. Congratulations on all of those accomplishments. That is a lot and an amazing
Thank you.
position to have coming, straight out of college. So, wow, that says a lot about you. Now, what do you like to do for fun, or what are some of your
Um,
hobbies?
I love to skate. I like to roller skate outside at the rink. I love to paint. So, I'll go to a little wine and sip or something like that, or I'll just paint in my leisure time. I like to go out and enjoy nature and go on walks, things like that.
Yes, I love all of those things as well, especially going on walks in nature. It's just so relaxing and calming. So, I get it.
Yeah.
Now, what is a fun fact about yourself?
I know a little bit of sign language. I had an opportunity to visit the Deaf Village in Jamaica on a mission trip that I had went to in March of 2020,
Mhm.
right before the pandemic started. And I spent a week there, and I learned a lot of sign language. But I'm a little rusty now. But but yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful to hear. Now, tell me, what did you want to be when you were little? Did you want to work in the STEM field? What did you want to be?
I think the main thing that I remember as a kid is wanting to be a doctor, not anything specific, like a psychologist or like a pre-med doctor, or physician or something. But I was just like, I want to be a doctor, period. So I don't know. That's just always been something I've said as a kid.
Okay. I think we all wanted to be doctors.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter what field, but I wanted to
Right.
be a doctor.
Now, why did you choose STEM? What were the driving factors of you going into biochemistry? Because I know initially you were thinking about going to pharmacy school. So, what made you change your mind?
So I had a strong passion for chemistry. Like when I was in high school, I took AP Chem, and I had a really good teacher that just got me hooked on like enjoying the aspects of chemistry. So when I chose pharmacy, it was kind of more of like a decision I made after high school.
Mhm.
But then my first semester in pharmacy school, I quickly realized that that was not the case. Um, and then I wanted to transition, and I wanted most of my credits to transfer.
Mhm.
And I figured biochemistry was my best option. I think the chemistry degree, I would have had to take a lot more courses, and I would have been a little bit behind. So I enjoyed both biology and chemistry. So I figured, why not do both?
Yes. See, I was where you were. I thought I was going to go to pharmacy school. In college, I was working as a pharmacy tech, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah,
So,
about that.
yeah. So I ended up switching to biochemistry as well, and I ended up graduating with biochem as well. So, yeah, I
Oh,
completely
awesome.
understand.
Look, I collect, compile, and analyze data as well as I conduct surveys on an as needed basis to directly support some of the policy priorities that CDF has.
Mhm.
So, those policy priorities are primarily centered on whole child well being for the family and the child. So, it includes a lot of the advocacy pieces that are included in the state budget. So, I kind of collect those data pieces that are needed to kind of persuade the conversation or kind of persuade our narrative and how we want to support children and families.
Okay. Okay, now on a daily basis, what do you do? Or do you have to code or using R or Python or any of that type of stuff?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, I am currently working in Tableau, which is just a data interface that uses, it's like, I would describe it as like an extreme version of Excel.
Yeah.
But I use that. I kind of do research based on articles that we find, or working in some of the like Ohio Department of Education data forums that they have.
Mhm.
Um, Basically, a lot of the government websites that we use to collect data in.
Yes. And at a time like this with COVID, I know looking at data is extremely important, to see
Yes.
what is working, what is not. And whew, it's a lot with that.
Yes. And the insights that you find are just mind boggling, honestly.
Yeah. Now, did you complete any internships or do any research that has helped your journey or helped shape your journey along the way?
Um, I'd say that when I had an internship my junior year, like my summer of junior year in college, I was a volunteer engagement and mobilization intern for the March of Dimes. And I think when I also was doing research for school for maternal child health racial disparities, I think those two pieces really shaped how I wanted to really go into public health and go into STEM, things that would be centered on research. So I think those were probably my best experiences in college when I was doing those two things.
Okay, that's wonderful. Very great. I love it. Now, can you discuss your experience as a Black woman in STEM and overall journey through STEM as a Black woman?
I mean, exactly that. Like I share those same sentiments of just, whew, just it's a lot.
Yes.
Especially since, you always have to work twice as hard. You always have to prove yourself. You always have to be one step ahead sometimes. And I think, especially in the science field, it's difficult to try to prove your worth
Yeah.
at times, but it's not impossible. You definitely can do it. And as long as you surround yourself with a community, like especially one that looks like you and that can encourage you and support you, it's definitely doable.
Okay. Now, how do you handle working in a male dominated field and being treated fairly as a Black woman on the workplace?
So actually, my team for Children's Defense Fund of Ohio is all women. So I haven't directly dealt with that as of yet.
Hmm.
I know our executive office is more diverse gender wise, but my experience so far hasn't been anything extreme to that extent where I feel as though males have, dominated the field and, are condescending in a certain way or anything like that. So I've I haven't had that experience yet.
That's really great to hear because a lot of times women do help, deal with situations like that. So for you to be a data associate in STEM and working with a team of all women, that's really unheard of. So that is really great news.
Yeah. I mean, I think our branch in Ohio is probably the only female majority that I've seen so far.
Okay. Now, who was your mentor or someone you looked up to along the journey?
So I actually had a mentor. His name is Dr. Philip Palmer. He was the assistant dean of the Bayer School of Natural Environmental Sciences at Duquesne University. And shout out to him because he's actually the person that helped me in my transition from pharmacy to biochemistry because it was very, very difficult. And he's just always provided advice and guidance while I was deciding on my major and kind of helping me with the courses that I would need post graduation. And I still talk to him to this day about, how I'm moving forward with my new job and also potentially going back to school.
Okay, shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
Now, I know in college, I know you were the minority a lot of times in science classes. How did you handle that, being the minority when it comes to STEM and science classes in college? If somebody's watching and they're in your same situation, what would you tell them to do?
So I think the main thing is just to have confidence and believing that your work is just as valuable as anyone else's. And I think sometimes it does get tough mentally having to deal with, people that may not think that highly of you because of your skin color, or, may treat you different because of your skin color. And I think, as I said before, just, having that community that surrounds you and encourages you, and also having that confidence and believing in yourself and knowing that you are just as valuable as anyone else in the room.
Yes, you matter as well. And you should be
Yes.
there just like everybody else, you know?
Look, this is not imposter syndrome. You deserve to be in the
Yes.
room too.
Now, what was your hardest class in college, by the way? Mine was physics. So I just
Oh my
curious.
God. I think the hardest class that I took in college was environmental chemistry. And it may not sound, that tough, but I just remember my final being extremely hard. I think it was only 3 questions. They were like 50
Oh,
points each.
those are the
And you
worst.
basically had to like explain the chemistry from how a fish had lead poisoning to how, people got lead poisoning, like from the river to how it was, produced in the market and how it was delivered to your home. Like it was crazy. I remember that one question and just being like, you know what, you can buzz me after this final, like, you know. But I love the professor. That was the thing. The
Yeah.
professor was really good, but that class, absolutely not.
Yeah. I think I have a few of those like that. So, yeah.
Physics, oh yeah, that wasn't. I didn't like physics either.
Now, had you ever received any discouragement from any advisor, professor, suggesting that, hey, science is not for you, or suggesting you change majors, anything like that?
I actually have. When I was in pharmacy school, and I think this was kind of leading up to my decision to leaving pharmacy school. I won't name no names,
Okay.
but there was one particular professor in the pharmacy school that, I came to him asking for help and, trying to see what I could do to try to boost my grade. And essentially, he basically told me, like, your grade is your grade. You need to just change your studying habits. And, if you don't pass this semester, like, essentially saying I can't help you.
Wow.
Um, and after that, I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then, I talked to the dean of the pharmacy school about it. And he too was, kind of saying, like, maybe pharmacy isn't the right cut for you. And I was like, you know what? That's okay because God got me.
Yeah.
And you're right. This may not be the path that I need to be on. So
Huh.
yeah,
That
it was
is,
unfortunate, but
yeah. I think we just need to shed more light on that because that happens to so many minorities in college, and you said pharmacy school, and that's just wow. I know I had
yeah.
an advisor who told me, she was like, "No, this is not for you," and I never seen her again. I got another advisor.
Look, you don't need that type
Oh,
of negative energy. Mm-mm.
yes. Now, are there any national societies or websites or podcasts you suggest for other scientists or people new to being a data policy associate?
Um, so I think that I kind of am up to date with a lot of advocacy networks and grassroots networks that are associated with kind of infant maternal health. Birthing Black Communities is a really good organization that I heard of through this job
Mhm.
that definitely uplifts and uproots Black women dealing with, being a mother, being a pregnant mother, all those different things. as well as just being aware of organizations that may fit your area of expertise. I know when I was in at Duquesne University, there was a multicultural STEM group, which is just called MSG to us, but also just included women and men in STEM. So I think just having the insight of where to look and how to find different organizations that can cater to your needs.
Okay. Now, looking back, now that you've graduated, what advice would you give to fellow scientists who are considering STEM, or somebody maybe already working in a program trying to just get through it if they're having a hard time and just want to give up, but they just what do you suggest they do?
Um, I know when I was in school, I struggled mentally a lot. My health was obviously a concern for me. I was also a student athlete, so I really had to take care of myself. So I definitely encourage all the students or people that are considering STEM to first take care of you,
Yeah,
because you can't do anything else if you aren't up to 100%.
right.
And also just asking for help. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. I know I did because I needed it. And, you should have the opportunity. Like, if you feel as though you don't have the opportunity to ask for help, you feel as you don't know where to look, maybe just ask a question and people can direct you.
Yeah.
Um, so just, don't be afraid to speak out and speak
Yeah.
up for yourself.
That's all great advice. And also, I think they should surround themselves with a great team, people who are going to uplift you and support you because you're going to need it in STEM. It's you can't do this
Look,
by yourself, and isolating yourself is not going to help. So,
mm-mm,
great advice. Great advice.
yeah. Thank you.
Now, what is something you wish you knew about your career before starting?
Like as I mentioned before, like the grassroots organizations that I have came to know now, like already in my field, um, I had to learn. But I think sometimes we don't look at the community-based organizations that really are the foundation to a lot of these national organizations. And they too have so much expertise and knowledge that you can just extract from. And because like my background is in political science, like, you know, I
Mhm.
just learned so much just from these grassroots organizations. So, I mean, if you are part of the, political science, data policy associate field, then definitely consider like getting and networking with a lot of those grassroots organizations.
Okay. Thank you for that advice. Now, Morgan, what would be your dream job in STEM? If you could have any job, what would it be? Or what are you, yeah, if you have any job, what would it be?
If I well, I want this to be my dream job that I can actually achieve. But to be a research scientist for health disparities, specifically for maternal and maternal child health, like that's just something I've always been passionate about. As I've said throughout this interview, like I just want to specifically do that and just make my impact that way.
I love that. That is so great and it's so needed. And I think you would be such an oh man, I just we need you. We need you. You would be amazing because we don't have that. So we need to shed a light on that and bring in more Black women for that field. So thank you
Exactly.
for what you do. It means a lot, and you're helping
Yeah,
others.
that's all
So,
I want to do, really. Yeah.
what are you currently working on, or what are some of your goals? Do you plan on going back to school or anything like that?
Yeah. So I do want to go back to school because, like I said, I want to specifically go into public health
Hmm.
and then have my concentration be maternal child health. But I also want to receive a graduate certificate in perinatal epidemiology. Was It's just a fancy way of saying I want. It's just a fancy way of saying like I want to be able to help women who may become pregnant or who are pregnant, and if they are facing any infections or diseases, that they're able to be able to get the right resources to deal with that.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Morgan, for being here and just dropping all this great wisdom and advice for others. Where can they reach you or find you on social media if they have more questions they'd like to ask you or support you as well?
Oh, okay. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, it's just Morghan Hyatt. As well as if you want to follow my Instagram, my handle is at ITS underscore MORGS. It's Morgs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Morgan. And I appreciate
Thank you so
everything
much for
you
having
do.
me.
Oh, absolutely. I seen your page and I was like, oh wow, yeah, I gotta talk to her.
I was so flattered when you were like, oh, an interview. I was like, oh, okay, like
Yes.
sure, I'll be glad.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And go follow her on social media. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.